Many people around the world are unaware that something extraordinary is unfolding in Southeast Asia, something that could reshape alliances, redraw strategies, and redefine the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. After decades of absence, the United States is quietly returning to one of its oldest and most important military partners, the Philippines. This isn't just about bases or access. It's about geography, rivalry, and the shifting winds of global power. It's about a region that has become the center of gravity for world politics, where the slightest miscalculation could ripple across oceans. The Philippines, a nation of islands scattered across the Pacific, has suddenly found itself on the front line of an international tug-of-war. Its position, right beside the South China Sea near Taiwan and along critical maritime routes, makes it a strategic gem that both allies and rivals are paying close attention to. And as tensions rise, America's return to the Philippines is no longer a possibility, it is a reality. To understand this major shift, we need to look at what changed. For nearly 2 generations after the old American bases were shut down, the Philippines stood largely on its own. The massive naval port in Subic Bay, once full of American sailors and ships, fell silent. The roar of fighter jets at former air stations disappeared from the skies. But while the bases faded into history, something else was quietly taking shape beyond the horizon. New structures rising over reefs and shoals, fortified islands appearing in once empty waters, and foreign vessels growing bolder inside areas the Philippines considered its own. These developments alarmed not only Manila, but also Washington. Ships were being blocked, fishermen were being harassed, patrol boats were being shadowed, challenged, and warned away by foreign fleets. This wasn't just an ordinary dispute. It was a strategic transformation happening in plain view. By the time the Philippines sounded the alarm, the changes in the region were impossible to ignore. The waters around the country were no longer peaceful. They had become a pressure point in global politics. Through diplomatic agreements, renewed military cooperation, and strategic planning, the U.S. seized the moment to return, not as an occupier, but as an ally determined to restore balance. The new security agreements between the United States and the Philippines are built on a simple idea: cooperation strengthens both sides. This partnership grants American forces access to selected Philippine bases, but unlike the old days, these bases remain fully Filipino-owned and operated. The arrangement is rotational, flexible, and designed for rapid response. Instead of huge permanent installations, the modern approach focuses on strategic points, places where aircraft can land, ships can dock, repairs can be made, and supplies can be stored. This network forms what analysts call a shield of deterrence, spreading across the country from north to south, east to west. Each location acts like a piece of a larger puzzle, all working together to monitor activity, respond to threats, and provide help during natural disasters. The world has changed, and so has the way military cooperation works. Smaller, smarter, more connected locations are replacing massive Cold War-era bases. But among these locations, one place stands out. For many Filipinos, Subic Bay holds a special place in history. Once one of the largest naval bases outside the United States, it was a bustling hub of American power, home to aircraft carriers, submarines, supply ships, and tens of thousands of personnel. When the Americans left in the early 1990s, Subic transformed into a civilian free port. Factories, business centers, and tourism projects replaced the naval fleets. But deep beneath the quiet transformation, Subic Bay still possessed the same qualities that made it a strategic masterpiece. A natural deep-water harbor, wide shipping channels, space for growing industry, a location facing one of the world's most contested seas, and now, decades later, Subic Bay is once again preparing for a larger role on the global stage. A massive international partnership combining South Korean shipbuilding technology, American investment, and Filipino talent is bringing the old shipyard back to life. This time, it's not just a repair center. It's evolving into a world-class construction facility that could produce some of the most advanced vessels in the region. From giant offshore platforms to modern patrol ships, the new Subic is set to become a powerhouse of maritime construction. For the Philippines, this means jobs, technology, and a stronger defense industry. For the United States, it means access to a strategically placed facility near key waterways. For South Korea, it means expanding its already impressive shipbuilding influence. This three-nation collaboration is more than just business. It is a strategic investment in stability and capability. While shipyards and airfields capture attention, a lesser-known development may be even more important: a new ammunition manufacturing facility supported by the United States. This new hub will allow both countries to store and produce essential materials without relying on distant suppliers. In times of crisis, the time saved can mean the difference between readiness and vulnerability. It ensures the Philippines has access to its own supply of defense equipment. It ensures the United States can support operations in the region more efficiently. And it signals a long-term commitment to strengthening combined capabilities. This facility is not loud, not flashy, and not widely publicized. But strategically, it is one of the most critical developments in the entire partnership. The Philippine Air Force saw another advantage in Subic's geography. Directly across from disputed waters lies an airfield with enormous potential. With the right upgrades, it can serve as a forward operating base capable of launching patrol aircraft, monitoring sea routes, and responding quickly to emergencies. Plans for this site include large hangars, new support buildings, and dedicated areas for maritime surveillance assets. These capabilities allow both countries to maintain a constant watch over areas where tensions often spark. The goal is simple. If something happens offshore, aircraft should be able to take flight immediately. This kind of readiness changes the entire security landscape of the region. Not far from the coastline of the bay lie two islands that once formed part of America's old naval complex. For years, they were quiet, overgrown, and mostly forgotten. But their true value has never disappeared. These islands sit at the mouth of the bay, offering a clear line of sight to approaching ships and nearby waterways. In a region where maritime activity is constantly watched, their position makes them ideal for observation, communication systems, and defensive operations. Reviving these islands adds an extra layer of security, protecting both the bay and the surrounding development zones. As the environment in the West Philippine Sea becomes more intense, these islands could once again play a crucial role in the country's defensive posture. The United States Navy has been quietly evaluating the Philippines as a strategic logistics point, one that can host modern storage facilities for equipment used in training and operations. These are not giant warehouses filled with troops. They are efficiently designed, climate-controlled sites that store essential gear, such as vehicles, tools, spare parts, and emergency equipment. The advantage? Units can arrive, retrieve what they need, and deploy immediately without waiting for supplies to be shipped from thousands of miles away. This dramatically speeds up response times during crises, including humanitarian missions after typhoons, earthquakes, or other natural disasters. With these facilities in place, the Philippines becomes one of the most important logistical nodes in the entire region. Across the country, airfields, naval stations, and army camps are undergoing upgrades. Runways are being repaired and extended. Ports are being strengthened. Communication systems are being modernized. Each site has a strategic purpose. Some guard the western coastline, facing disputed waters. Some secure the northern approach leading toward Taiwan. Others strengthen internal mobility, allowing the Philippine military to move across the archipelago quickly. This nationwide modernization is not just about partnering with the US. It is about giving the Philippines the capability to defend its own territory with modern tools and infrastructure. For most of its history, the northernmost part of the Philippines was quiet and remote. Small islands, peaceful communities, and fishing boats defined daily life. There were no major ports, no towering buildings, no military presence of global significance. But the world has changed. Those same islands now sit between two potential conflict zones: the South China Sea to the west and the Taiwan Strait to the north. This narrow channel has become one of the most watched areas on Earth. Ships pass through it, military aircraft cross overhead. Intelligence agencies monitor it, and global powers keep their eyes fixed on every movement. Because of this, the Philippines found itself in a unique position. It controls territory right beside a route that could become crucial in any future crisis. And so, Manila and Washington began conducting exercises in the area. Not aggressive drills, defensive ones, meant to prepare for humanitarian missions, disaster response, and potential threats to the country's northern frontier. Runways on these islands were inspected to see how they could be improved. Ports were evaluated for ship access. Terrain was studied for emergency facilities. Now plans are in motion to extend airstrips, strengthen docks, install new equipment, build shelters that can endure harsh weather, create command points for disaster response. These developments are not merely symbolic. They demonstrate that the Philippines is preparing for any future that may come its way, peaceful or otherwise. And with US support, the region is steadily transforming from a quiet corner of the country into a strategic anchor point. For many years, the Philippine Navy operated with limited resources. Old vessels from previous decades pushed through heavy seas, some older than the sailors who manned them. Equipment was hard-working but aging. Technology was functional but outdated. Yet the changing environment in the West Philippine Sea forced a shift. Foreign ships grew more assertive. Filipino fishermen faced intimidation. Regular patrols encountered challenges and dangerous encounters. The Philippines needed a modern navy, so the country began a major modernization drive. New warships, sleek, modern, and equipped with advanced radar systems, arrived from South Korea. Offshore patrol vessels were added to the fleet. Missile systems capable of defending territorial waters were deployed. Vast attack craft were assigned to coastal areas to deter foreign harassment. Surveillance assets were expanded to detect threats before they reached Philippine shores. These upgrades were not cosmetic. They marked a turning point in the nation's maritime defense. And the story doesn't end there. With the new Subic shipyard rising, the dream of building Philippine-made warships is becoming a possibility. If this becomes reality, the Philippines will no longer depend entirely on foreign suppliers. It will be able to design, build, and maintain its own vessels. This capability could transform the country into one of Southeast Asia's naval production hubs, a major leap forward in national security and economic strength. But modern ships alone are not enough. To operate effectively across thousands of islands, the Navy needs places to dock, refuel, resupply, and repair. It needs stations spread across the archipelago, especially near contested areas. This is why the Philippines and the United States developed a plan to create multiple small but highly strategic naval outposts. These are not giant bases. They are compact, efficient locations designed to house patrol boats, radar systems, communication equipment, and rapid response teams. Some are placed near the West Philippine Sea to increase visibility. Others face the Philippine Rise in the east, where foreign research activities have raised concerns. A few are positioned near the country's northern islands to strengthen early warning capability. This network allows the Philippines to respond to incidents faster than ever before. A radar detects something unusual, a patrol boat can launch within minutes. A ship appears near disputed waters, nearby outposts can track it immediately. An island needs defense support. Vessels can move without waiting for reinforcements from distant ports. This decentralized approach gives the Philippines flexibility and resilience. It ensures that the country is never blind to what is happening across its vast maritime domain. The air domain is equally important. Several Philippine Air Force bases that once struggled with old infrastructure are now receiving major upgrades, some supported by US funding. These improvements include stronger runways capable of handling heavy aircraft, new aprons large enough for several planes, reinforced hangars, modern control towers, upgraded fuel and maintenance systems. One air base in particular is being transformed into a regional air operations center, allowing aircraft to respond quickly to maritime incidents. Another base, located not far from the West Philippine Sea, is receiving a massive expansion, turning it into a staging point for surveillance flights, transport aircraft, and tactical units. And in the country's central region, an airfield with historical ties to U.S. forces is being upgraded to serve as a logistics hub for both nations. These airfields form a triangle of air power across the Philippines. They allow planes to refuel, resupply, and relay information instantly. They enable continuous monitoring of sea lanes and disputed areas. And importantly, they strengthen the Philippines' ability to assist communities during typhoons, floods, and other natural disasters that frequently strike the country. Some people wonder, why is the United States investing so heavily in the Philippines after so many years away? Why are new facilities, partnerships, and agreements emerging at such rapid pace? The answer is complex, but it revolves around three major factors. One, the South China Sea has become a strategic flashpoint. The waters surrounding the Philippines are no longer just fishing areas or trade routes. They have become a contested zone where foreign vessels regularly enter Philippine waters and assert control. Artificial islands with runways and military systems now stand in places once used by fishermen. Foreign Coast Guard ships patrol near Philippine shoals. Confrontations between vessels have become increasingly tense. The Philippines cannot face these challenges alone. Strong partnerships help restore balance. Any conflict near Taiwan would have immediate effects on the Philippines because the islands in the north lie directly in the path of potential evacuation routes, military flight corridors, and humanitarian operations. Both Manila and Washington know that the Philippines would play a crucial role in any regional crisis. Preparation is essential. After years of underinvestment, the Philippines is finally pushing for serious modernization. The government has made it clear the country will strengthen its defenses, protect its exclusive waters, and support alliances that promote stability. This shift in national policy aligns perfectly with U.S. strategic goals in the Indo-Pacific. Both nations benefit, both nations gain security, both nations reinforce a long-standing alliance. While military modernization grabs the spotlight, another part of the partnership is equally important: humanitarian cooperation. The Philippines is among the most disaster-prone countries in the world. Typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and floods strike regularly. In these moments, the United States often provides cargo planes for relief goods, ships delivering medical supplies, helicopters for search and rescue, engineering teams for rebuilding infrastructure. Upgraded bases and new logistics hubs make this assistance faster and more efficient. These facilities will save lives, not just deter threats. Returning to Subic Bay, it's important to understand that the developments there extend far beyond military use. The revival of the shipyard brings thousands of jobs, world-class training for Filipino workers, potential global export opportunities, advanced engineering and manufacturing technologies. As operations expand, the Philippines could become a leader in Southeast Asian shipbuilding, a role once dominated by other nations. The economic boost will ripple across the region, attracting investment, tourism, and foreign businesses. And as the area grows, Subic becomes both a commercial hub and a strategic anchor. It represents a new era of Filipino potential. Across the bay, the international airport at Subic is undergoing its own quiet transformation. To the average traveler, it looks like a simple airfield, but military planners see something far more valuable: an ideal location for rapid deployment. The runway stretches along the coast, offering open access to the sea and sky. Its position makes it one of the closest major airfields to key flashpoints in the West Philippine Sea. Because of this, it has become a central piece of the Philippines' defensive blueprint. New facilities are being designed for maritime patrol aircraft, surveillance planes, fighter jet maintenance, equipment storage, humanitarian airlifts during disasters. This is not about turning the airport into an American base. It remains firmly under Philippine control, but its development gives both the Philippines and the United States a reliable site for coordinated missions. Whether the task is monitoring the sea, providing relief during storms, or responding to unexpected events, the airport is becoming a platform for fast, decisive action, and its value will only grow in the years ahead. While airports and shipyards attract attention, perhaps the most strategically important facility is the new ammunition manufacturing center being developed in Subic's Freeport Zone. This project is subtle, almost hidden behind economic announcements and defense updates. But its significance cannot be overstated. For decades, the Philippines relied heavily on imported ammunition for training, patrols, and emergencies. Delays were common. Shortages happened. Production capacity was limited. Now, for the first time in its modern history, the country is preparing to operate a facility that can support its armed forces independently. The United States considers this a top priority as well. A local production line ensures that both Filipino and American forces have access to essential supplies whenever needed. In a region where tensions can rise suddenly, a reliable ammunition source becomes a strategic advantage. Quiet, steady, and indispensable. This facility symbolizes a deeper partnership, shared responsibility, shared capability, and shared commitment to long-term regional stability. Across the armed forces, a cultural shift is unfolding. New pilots train on modern aircraft. Sailors operate advanced radars and guided weapons. Coast Guard crew members learn communication systems that link them instantly to air and naval units. Marines receive updated equipment built to withstand harsh maritime environments. For years, the Philippines struggled with limited resources. But now, modernization is happening at a pace unseen in decades. The world is watching as the country upgrades. Air defense systems, coastal missile platforms, radar networks, naval combat capabilities, cyber defense units, intelligence monitoring centers. Each enhancement strengthens the nation's ability to detect threats, defend territory, and respond to crises. And with US support, the Philippines gains access to training, technology, and expertise that would otherwise be difficult to acquire. This is not simply an upgrade. It is a transformation, one that positions the Philippines as a more capable, confident participant in maintaining peace in the region. One of the most important aspects of the renewed defense partnership is the creation of a dispersed, resilient network of strategic facilities across the archipelago. Instead of relying on one or two major bases, the Philippines and the United States are developing many smaller, interconnected sites. This strategy ensures that even if one location becomes inaccessible, the network remains operational. These sites offer rapid response for natural disasters, coordinated patrol routes, closer proximity to contested waters, early detection of unusual activities, the ability to shelter aircraft or vessels during emergencies. In a nation composed of thousands of islands, this approach makes perfect sense. It allows the military to move quickly, sustain operations, and maintain a constant presence across a vast maritime territory. Even more importantly, it tells the world that the Philippines is no longer unprepared or isolated. It is becoming a nation equipped for the modern security environment. Many people think military partnerships are solely about weapons and conflict. But one of the biggest benefits of US-Philippine cooperation is humanitarian assistance. Every year, the Philippines experiences natural disasters that devastate communities. typhoons, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, landslides, floods. In many of these crises, time is the most critical resource. With upgraded airports, pre-positioned equipment and joint training, both countries can deliver relief goods faster, rescue survivors more efficiently, rebuild damaged infrastructure sooner, deploy medical teams urgently, transport supplies to isolated islands. Military aircraft become cargo carriers, ships become floating hospitals, bases become staging areas for relief operations. These missions save countless lives, and they remind everyone that defense cooperation is not only about protecting territory, it is also about protecting people. The renewed strategic partnership between the Philippines and the United States is more than a bilateral agreement. It's part of a larger transformation shaping the entire Indo-Pacific. Countries are strengthening alliances. Regions are preparing for potential crises. Nations are building resilience against threats. Maritime security is becoming a global priority. The balance of power is shifting. In this evolving landscape, the Philippines stands at the crossroads of major trade routes, military corridors, and geopolitical interests. Its partnership with the United States sends a message of unity, deterrence, and cooperation. It tells the world that the Indo-Pacific is not an open field for unchecked expansion. It is a region where alliances matter, sovereignty is respected, and stability is defended. If one location symbolizes this entire story, it is Subic Bay. From a historic naval fortress to an economic free port, to a modern maritime hub, to a strategic defense anchor, Subic has lived multiple lives. Its waters have carried the ships of empires. Its shores have witnessed wars, treaties, and transformations. Its people have adapted through every change. Now, once again, Subic stands at the center of a global moment. The shipyard is roaring back to life. The airfield is being strengthened. Ammunition production is beginning. New maritime facilities are rising. Islands around it are being reactivated. Investment is flowing. Alliances are deepening. Subic is no longer a relic of the past. It is a foundation of the future. No one knows what the coming decades will hold. But one thing is clear. The Indo-Pacific is becoming the heart of global competition and cooperation. In this shifting environment, the Philippines is no longer on the sidelines. It is stepping into a central role, supported by allies, strengthened by modernization, and guided by a renewed vision for national security. More airports will be upgraded. More naval outposts will rise. More advanced ships will enter the fleet. More humanitarian missions will be coordinated. More local industries will grow around defense and maritime infrastructure. The Philippines is preparing not just for conflict, but for resilience, economic growth, and regional leadership. America's return to the Philippines is not about rebuilding the past. It is about shaping the future. A future where the Philippines has stronger defenses. A future where the seas are monitored and protected. A future where humanitarian response is fast and effective. A future where Asia remains stable and free. A future where alliances stand firm in the face of uncertainty. The world is watching, history is unfolding, and the Philippines has become a crucial voice in the next chapter of the Indo-Pacific story.